This is part 2 of Happy Planner for Beginners. In the last class, and I will recap if you haven't been able to catch that, don't worry. I'm going to recap a little bit of those things that we covered. You can always rewatch the Happy Planner 101 video on Michael Store's YouTube, and you just type in Happy Planner for Beginners. Also, you can always find me on Instagram, on YouTube, and Facebook at Neatly Planned. Feel free, if you have any specific questions to your planner or planning styles, feel free to inbox me. I try my best to answer those pretty quickly. I would love to connect with you guys after this class. Also, during this class, there will be in the chat box, you can ask questions, and those questions will be given to me from the moderator, and so I can answer those. So at any point, if I'm explaining something and you're like, hey, wait a second, Nita, before you move on, feel free to drop those questions and we will make this interactive. In the last class, we went over basically all the things Happy Planner. We talked about the different lingo that we use in the planner community, just what the different sizes and types of planners were. We talked about all the accessories, all the great stickers, just stickers for beginners, kind of some of the beginner planner tools of the trade that we use during the planning process. And so I'm going to recap some of those things. I'm going to use that terminology, and I will also explain it again to you guys. But today, we're really going to talk about, now that you have the planner, we know what the things are, how do we use them? How do we create and prioritize tasks within our planner? Where do we track them? How do we use time management in our planner to make our lives better by using a planner? And so hopefully when you guys leave this class, you will leave with just some new tips and tricks on how to make your planner just make your life easier. And so I'm really excited about today. I'm going to try to give you guys visuals as I'm talking through things, and then hopefully we just have some fun. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the overhead shot, and I'm going to show you guys my planner. And so right away, before you ever start writing anything in a planner, I like to kind of make a little list of what I plan to track in my planner. And so for me, this big planner here, and I'm just going to basically show you guys, this is a long, I use a big, and so this is a big half sheet. So here's a cool trick too. If you are thrifty and you like to save, you can take the big planner accessories, if you have like a classic or a mini, which are the smaller versions, and actually just cut it. So all I did was cut this page in half to write out to use multiple things, and you can also layer it in your planner. So before I start with the planner, before I write anything in a new planner, I first need to determine what am I going to track in this planner. So for me, this is my catch-all. I like to call this kind of, it's my battle planner. In this planner, I'm gonna just kind of tell you guys, so also as I'm walking through things, you guys can see how I'm tracking those things within this planner. So this is my catch-all planner. So in this planner, I track Faith, I track my daughter's daycare stuff, and she's 2, so we just mainly have like daycare functions. I'm a room mom. I track home life, cleaning, bills, and then I also track in this planner, I usually will house also like my workouts or fitness. Okay, so make a list of what you want to track in your planner. Always do that first. And I say do that first because it also will help you when you're trying to determine where you want to place things within your planner. It allows you to look at that list and then decide where you want to track those. So right away, once you make your list of things that you want to track in your planner, you need to determine, is it something you're going to track monthly, weekly, or is it something that you are going to do like annually? So quarter, is it something that you're looking at maybe, 4 times a year? And a lot of people do that specifically relating to goals. And so for me, when we're talking about where you want to place things, you can place things in 3 places within your planner. An example of that would be, this is your month at a glance page. Your month at a glance page is just basically your monthly overview page that allows you to see everything all at once. So for me, because this is my catch-all planner, I track my bills and finance stuff here on this monthly sheet. And so what that looks like for me, again, as you can see, I kind of place stickers strategically just on the outer corners so that I'm able to really use my boxes themselves to fill it in with the stuff that I'm tracking. And this is my live, so this is my actual month of February. This is my expenses of things I'm tracking. So let me show you guys. I use stickers. You can use stickers in multiple ways, but how I like to use them, I don't necessarily write the amount of the bill. Sometimes I will if there's any type of changes. So if you're trying to use it to track bills, you might say, hey, it was a little bit more this month, or, you know, if a bill that regulates, so like a mortgage for us, that doesn't change. Netflix is going to be the same amount, but other things that maybe could change, like your electric bill or credit cards or things like that. So I use stickers. You can colorize stickers, and maybe like your utilities, you want to use a particular color. I have 3 different color stickers that I'm using for bills specifically, but also I track my bills. I also like to use little icon stickers to track payday. So maybe you don't want to use like payday stickers, and because they don't necessarily, usually they're only green. And so I'm just using these check marks. For me, I like to, it's just like a visual reminder of when we have payments coming in. So I get paid on Fridays, my husband gets paid, and I just put our initials there. So CP is my husband, and he gets paid on Wednesdays. So I have a purple check mark for him and a green check mark for me. And then I go in, I like to track and look at my daily spending. And so this also allows me to get a visual and just see kind of where am I spending money? Am I spending money at different times of the month more so? And maybe I need to adjust my budget for those things. And so here I actually write the actual dollar amount that I used. And so on this particular day, I went to Walmart. I spent $100.50. And then here I went to Kroger because here we like our produce better at Kroger. And so I went to Kroger the very next day. I like to track those things. This Friday, I did oil changes. So for me, personally, I like to keep only my personal finance stuff here on this month at a glance page. I don't write anything else. I don't track anything else but bills. Maybe you want to track your fitness, or maybe you want to track affirmations or your steps or different things. For me, I also like to write a couple goals for myself on things that I want to track, financial goals. So for this one, the goal that I set for myself was to empty my storage unit and save $70 per month. And then another thing that I have a goal for myself for this month was to purchase 2 new stocks. So for me, the only things that I'm tracking on here are financial things. I'm also going to show you another area where you can track things in your planner. This particular planner is this is a dashboard layout. So when I flip it, I'm going to show you what the dashboard looks like, but I'm also going to show you what a vertical layout looks like and how you can track things in there as well. So once you determine, so you can either track them in your monthly, you can also track them at what we call, here is your year at a glance. So I would highly recommend this. For me, I like to track birthdays here or anniversaries. I also like, I feel like you could use this great for if you want to track maybe just your daily spending in these areas, you could do that as well. Another example of things that you can track on these month at a glance pages would be if you have kids' practice schedules, or maybe vacation, you're planning things out. This is an area where it's not going to jumble up your weekly view. So I always say spread things out, because for me, I don't like to be overwhelmed looking at everything all at once, or it's just so confusing. So for me, I like to kind of spread things in different places. And so where I'm training myself, and I always say, I'm planning, you want to create a routine. So wherever you track the items, whether they be bills, finance, appointments, track them in the same place. So if you're tracking it, you know, if you start in January tracking birthdays here, you can write them in your weekly too. But I always say wherever you put them in the same place every week. It will really help you to just kind of form it into a habit, and it will just become you'll go into autopilot when you're creating your weekly plans. And so here is that month at a glance. This is bills. And I always say too, I like to have a couple goals. So whether it be fitness or you are doing, your finances, writing out those goals because it allows you to go back and look, how did you do at those goals? And so at the end of the month, I will just kind of save this little space here on whether or not I accomplished it, or do I need to maybe move that goal over to the next month? It's like a continuation, because some goals you won't completely accomplish them in 1 month. Okay, so once you determine where you want them, whether it be the monthly, your weekly, or year at a glance, the next thing you need to do that I highly recommend, and we're going to talk about it, is to create, I like to do every single week when I start a week out, I like to do what I like to call a brain dump. And so before I write anything in my weekly view, I write out everything. I have to get it out of my head. So I get it down on paper. I always say you can do this. This is a Happy Planner filler sheet. So it comes with the check lines on it. And then over here is the dot grid. And then it also has line paper here. I'm going to show you guys today a bunch of different filler papers that you can use to help just kind of expand your planning room. It also, I like that, again, that the Happy Planner system is customizable. And so you can move things back and forth within your planner. And so if it's something that didn't get completed, all you have to do is pull this sheet out and move it over to the next week. And so I really like that. And so for me, every single Sunday, and I would highly recommend setting a particular day of the week and make that just your planning time. So, for me, it's Sunday evenings, and I just kind of do this. I get everything out of my head on paper on the things that I need to get done for the week. And so I basically have broken it down into 4 categories. So for here, this says work schedule. So this isn't my work schedule. This is my husband's work schedule, and not his full work schedule, but my husband's a trainer. He is a trainer. And so these are the times. So I just basically went Monday through Friday. And these are the time blocks where he can't be disrupted. And so I like to have this on hand and written in my planner because, again, if there's something that comes up at the daycare and one of us needs to leave work to get our daughter, or coordinating who's going to pick her up or who's going to drop her off based on when he has these, basically block out times, we plan according to that. We coordinate with one another on that. So for me, I need to track that work schedule. Also, the things at daycare. So I told you guys I'm my daughter's room mom at the daycare. And so basically what that is just, it's kind of like PTA for daycare. And so we have their Valentine's Day parties that were rescheduled due to the snow. I'm here in Arkansas. And so these are the things that I need to do for the party. So drop off candy. Every month we bring snacks for the class. And then I write up a monthly newsletter for the parents for the kids that are in her classroom. And so that's just something that I do every month. And then the next section of my brain dump is church. So my husband is on the worship team at church. He's also over our youth music ministry. And so he has rehearsals on those 2 days, and then just our church service that is streamed live. And I like to set reminders for those things as well. And then workouts, here is just a reminder. I'm a Peloton girl. And so one of my good girlfriends, her 600th ride was this past week. And I just basically wrote out when it was a live class that we were taking and with what instructor. Okay. And so then now that I have kind of my schedule things, now here are just additional to-dos. So it's whether it be ordering things, my daughter, so just scheduling time, with COVID, I want to wash and sanitize all her toys, things that need to go through, which is donating baby clothes, clean and organize our master closet, set dentist appointments for everyone, schedule date night, book a sitter, ordering a new Bible study. And then also here, this is kind of like my running shopping list as I'm thinking about things. We have just a magnetic board that we keep on the refrigerator. And since COVID, we've tried to do better at limiting how much we're going back and forth to the store. And so I usually like to have a list of at least about 10 things before I go to the store to actually pick up things. And so that's just my rule of thumb. I try to have at least 10 items that I need before I go to the store. And so this is just kind of, again, for me, getting it all out of my head allows me to rest. It allows me to sleep at night. And this is something that I do of course, on my major planning day, but this is also part of what I'm going to talk about being my morning and night planning routine. So getting it out on paper, this is something I would highly recommend before you write anything down. It eliminates, having to scratch a bunch of things out and moving things around. Also, I highly recommend if, you have kids and things aren't set in stone, or you have friends that are thinking about, you guys are talking about plans and, with the pandemic, you don't know if plans are actually going to happen. Here you go. Here's the tip for that. Sticky notes. Anything that is not like dead set, a hard, finalized, I write it with a sticky note. And basically where I place these, I'm going to show you where I place these in my planner. Those are my tweezers. So within my planner, I like to have, here it is. A dashboard. And so basically on this dashboard, it just says, don't forget. On here, what I will also put outside of my sticky notes, I sometimes will also put like habit trackers on here that I will just put on a, like on a sticker, and then or cardstock. And then I just kind of will tape it on there, use just my Tombow adhesive and tape it on here. If it's something that I don't necessarily want on my actual planner. And so I use sticky notes. If you're afraid that they're going to come off, they're usually pretty sticky. These are Happy Planner sticky notes. If you want a little bit more additional sticky, you can do that same way. You can use sticky notes instead of stickers. So they're another way that you can just add like decorative elements to a spread and just give little pops of color. But any plans that are not hard finalized, I use sticky notes. Same way, if you're on a monthly, you can put a dashboard on your monthly view and do the same way. Anything that's not set, use a sticky note. It keeps, if you want your planner to look cute and don't want like scratches and white out, that's just a fun little tip. I also like to have my dashboard on the actual week that I'm in because it's just a quick flip. So when I pull it up, I immediately can open. I can immediately open it and bam, I'm on my actual week. Another accessory, I have 3 accessories that I keep in every single planner. And so because this is my battle planner, like I told you guys, we get a daily sheet from my daughter's daycare. So any papers, anything that I need to keep with me, I basically, before I can punch it in my planner, I just will fold it up and put it in here. So that I don't lose it, whether it be like appointments or, when you go to the doctors and you set an appointment, they give you that little piece of paper. I just stick all of those things in there. I have a big like purse or work bag that I use. So my planner goes with me when I'm on the go. That may be something you want to consider when you're trying to determine what size planner you want. Is it a planner you want to take with you on the go? Some people like smaller planners because they want to be able to just easily throw it in their purse. I like having this big boy with me. That's just a personal preference. So I stick any papers that I need or want on hand with me in this folder. Another thing that I like to keep in every single planner are these half envelopes. They come in a couple different sizes, but this is the half letter size. And I like that it's the long way, the vertical way, because I can put longer receipts in here. I like to keep my grocery receipts or any purchases that I'm doing. Of course, a lot of places have electronic receipts, but some places don't. And so when I'm shopping, especially with a kid, you got to try things on, I'm not taking her to stores. So I like to just have all my receipts in one place so I'm not looking for them. So immediately after I make a purchase, I put that receipt in here so I have it when I'm needing to do exchanges. Okay, so now that we have our brain dump, the next thing that I like to do is kind of to create just my weekly schedule. When I first got into planning, I was struggling because every week I was putting things in different places. Every week I was changing things up and it left me forgetting things, thinking about that, having a planner and still forgetting things or not, remembering something or, being a place you need it to. And so I had to create kind of like a daily schedule for certain tasks. And so for me, what that looks like, and this was also very important for my husband and I, once we had kids, we were married for 7 years before we, had kids. And so it was a huge adjustment to just getting up and going. And so we kind of had to kind of readjust some things. And so what I did was, this is just a daily sheet. They come in multiple different layouts, but I really like the hourly daily sheets. This is another version of that. But it also basically, it just gives you blocks. This says to copy, to prep notes, but you can put a sticker on there just like I did for this don't forget, and change it and relabel it to whatever you want it to be. But I like having the hourlies because it kind of lets me be able to block off time. I like working in time blocks for work and when I'm at home, when I'm doing home tasks, because what I find when you block off time, you don't get sucked into a task too long. For work especially, I would work on one particular project, and it may be a project that I'm working on for weeks, but now I've spent, my full 8 hours on it, and there's other things that need my attention or need to be prioritized. And so for me, I like to block off, especially on busy days or busy work weeks, I like to block off, do time blocking. I highly recommend, if you are a person that struggles with time management, to do time blocking. You will see a drastic improvement in productivity by doing a time block. This also allows you to see, hey, maybe some tasks are taking more time than others. And this is also for my husband and I, whether I'm here or he's here, we can keep with the same, like our daily schedule and night routines and breakfast routines with our daughter. And so this is just an overview, an example of what a typical day and night schedule is for my family. And so for us, we start at 7 a.m., breakfast with Gianna. By 8 a.m. every morning, one of us is off out to daycare. And then back for me, I'm usually back between 8:30 and 9 a.m. I do my devotion and quiet time, and then I get right to work. And so I work straight. Usually when I'm doing these, I will assign a particular task that I'm going to work on for those time blocks. And then here at lunch, I have lunch with my husband at 12. This has been so key for me during the pandemic. I was really bad at this before, but especially working from home. I used to do working lunches all the time, and you need time for your body just to rest and not be thinking about work. And so my husband and I try to have lunch together, unless he has like a crazy schedule and he's in one of those time blocks. But we try to sit down and have lunch together, and then it's back working. And then again, you would assign tasks to those particular lines. And then here we have, we pick up our daughter at 4:30. We leave to pick her up. We have playtime before dinner to about 6:15, from 5:30 to 6:15. At 7 p.m. sharp, we start bath time every single day. If I'm here, he's here. Whoever's available at that time, we start bath time. She goes to bed at 7:30. At 8 p.m., I do my workout and my night routine. So I work out, I'll do my ride or whatever, workout, if it's stretching or yoga, whatever I'm going to do. And then I start my night routine. And then at 9 p.m. is just like time to connect and unplug. So at 9 p.m., no phones, we're done answering ththings, just hanging out, me and my husband. I highly recommend creating a morning and a night planning routine. You're like, Nita, why? This is really important because with planning, what I found is if you don't actually open it up and look at it and don't make those adjustments, what you will find is you're missing things or forgetting things, or you didn't finish something. And so for what my morning routine looks like for planning, I start with morning prayer, and I don't look at my phone or do emails before 9 a.m. In my previous class, I taught on increasing productivity. I would highly recommend you guys checking that video out. With my Michael's class that I did, I talked about your 3 before 10, basically prioritizing your top 3 things that you want to accomplish in the day before 10 a.m. Depending on what your work schedule is, you may have to either, bump that time frame back or bump it up. So say you have to figure out what is your busiest time. For me, with my particular job, my job gets crazy by 10 a.m. We have a clinical call and your day can easily get hijacked. And so I wanted to get the things that I needed to accomplish before 9 a.m. And then I review my planner and update tasks. So what that looks like for me is I update my work Outlook calendar because I have to keep that. And then I also, if there are any tasks that didn't get completed that were assigned to my daily box, I will move those over or complete complete them. So if there's anything that needed to be finished from the previous day, I will automatically start with that. That becomes my priority because it didn't get finished from the day before. Does everybody understand that? Does anybody have questions about like the morning planning routine?
Dee just asked if you could explain just exactly what time blocking means.
Yes, absolutely. So time blocking is when you are based on a, so like this is an hourly sheet. So for every hour, and it doesn't have to be, maybe you block off longer blocks of time, but it's basically accounting for all the hours in your day. And so like if you wake up at, 8, or if you wake up at 12, like setting times where you're going to have things completed. So for me, it only takes me maybe an hour to get ready in the morning. So from, 6:30 to 7, that is my time that I'm going to shower and be dressed and ready for breakfast. It's basically where you're assigning time for the different things that you need to get done. So for work, for me, if there's a project that I'm working on, I'm going to assign an hour for trainings because we have constant trainings that we have to stay current on. And then I may assign another hour to work on, maybe it's a report I need to finish, but it's basically you're going to assign time and you're setting time limits for how much time you're going to spend on a particular thing. And this is really good because it keeps you, again, from spending too much time. So say for cleaning, we all can clean. We always can find multiple things to clean all day, but say, hey, I'm going to set aside 1 hour and this particular hour every day for cleaning. And whatever I get accomplished within that 1 hour is all that I can do. And when that 1 hour is up, I'm done with it. So it basically sets parameters on how long you spend on a task. That makes sense?
Thanks so much.
Awesome. Okay. And so moving on to the night routine. And this is really important. I would highly recommend creating just a daily night routine. I always say your night routine is planning really begins at night before the next day. And for me, I do anything at night that will help to set me up for success for the day. And so every day we have breakfast. My mom always say, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And so I try to always, usually with my daughter, serve a hot breakfast. Well, in order to do that, I kind of got to prep some things at night. I always try to have, something hot and then some fresh fruit. And so I prep and cut all of my fruit and have it ready. So all I'm doing is literally scooping it out. And sometimes what I will even do, like a mom hack, they have those little plastic plates where like for toddlers that are, squared away, they have like the dividers in them. I will even put everything that I need for breakfast, whether it be yogurt and my fruit, everything on the plate, put it in a Ziploc bag, put the plate in a Ziploc bag and put it in the refrigerator. Mom hack. It will save you so much time, especially she's a toddler. So we're working on patience. She's ready to eat. As soon as I put her in her high chair, she's ready to eat. So this saves me time. It also allows me to be efficient. So I prep all of my breakfast stuff at night. I'm a coffee drinker. I fill my Keurig maker with water and coffee in the morning. Literally all I have to do when I get up and get in the kitchen is press the button. I load my dishwasher at night, so it's ready to go. I lay out my daughter's entire outfit. This includes her socks, her shoes, hair bows, so I'm not frantic. I'm one of those people, I don't like to feel like I'm forgetting things or I'm rushing in the morning. I always say like your morning should be calm. You want to do everything that you can at night to make that morning as smooth as possible, as effortless as possible. And again, whether it's my husband getting her ready or me getting her ready, this is setting us up for success. And this was a huge adjustment. You're used to being able to sleep in or get a few extra minutes. And by setting everything out at night, it really allows you to have a smooth morning. Also, this is me, and I'm sure, other parents out there, I forget things and I don't like to do that. I don't want to, forget something. We live 30 minutes from the daycare. And so if I forget to take something, I have to go all the way back home and bring it back. So I wrote this down, anything that needs to be taken to the daycare, I put it in the truck at night, unless it's like food or something like that. Back when I was breastfeeding. And so of course the milk, I couldn't do that, but literally I had a big sticky note on the refrigerator that said, don't forget the milk bag. So again, whatever you need to do at night, that will help. My mom did this when I was a little girl. We literally on Sunday nights, she would make us iron all of our clothes. If you have older kids, iron all of our clothes on Sunday nights for the entire week. I was like, you know, my mom was a military wife. I was like, okay, this is just her being like crazy, but no, it really saves time. It really just really allows for it soothes the chaos. 3 girls, everyone's fighting over clothes and what you're wearing. By having all of our clothes laid out, it made it so smooth. And then the last thing that I like to do at night, I like to review my planner. So again, any task that didn't get completed, I move over to the next day. It also allows me to prepare my mind mentally. When I go to sleep, I know what's coming up. If I know I'm going to have a long day of Zoom calls and all that, I need to get sleep. Maybe I need to go to bed a little bit early. So reviewing that planner, I know what's coming up. And so for me, that has been a huge success by having a daily sheet that allows me to know what my daily planning looks like. And so this is just an example of that. I wanted you guys to see that. Another key thing that I like to do in my planner, this is just a running list that I like to keep of groceries. I told you guys this is the current things that I need to get from Walmart, and I just make a little list and just layer that in there. So that's these are my real plans. So y'all are seeing it in real time with me. Okay, let's talk about this. This is another really key element in your scheduling. This was something that I learned years ago with zone cleaning. Growing up as a kid, I used to, we spent all day Saturdays cleaning up. And I just was like, when I became an adult, I was like, I'm not doing that. I don't want to spend all day cleaning up. I don't want to spend, my one off day trying to tackle an entire house. And so basically, this is another half sheet filler paper that you can use from Happy Planner. Again, you can use any system. Don't be afraid to add things to your planner that will make it easy. For some people, you might say, hey, I don't, want to have all these extra sheets. You can feel free. You can write it. I have space. I could write down those cleaning tasks. But what I like is when I do it on these type of sheets, I can just move it over to the next week if those particular tasks aren't changing, or if this is something, for me, this is just my weekly cleaning schedule that I like to do. And so for me, what that looks like, examples for me this week, it's like clean the master on Monday, wash whites, dust fans. Tuesday is doing the master bathroom, water my plants, wash towels. Wednesday, vacuum the living room, wash my athletic wear. I work out every day. Thursday, cleaning the guest bathroom, clean my office, dust all the TVs. So it's basically zone cleaning is just breaking your overall household things that you don't want to do into smaller bites throughout the day. Like I said, creating that time block. So maybe you say, I'm going to spend 30 minutes every day just to clean up, to keep things tidy. No one likes to clean. Maybe you do. I just don't. And so I like to break it down so it doesn't feel like it's a lot. Also, me and my husband, if there's a particular task neither one of us like to do, we try to tackle it together. Neither one of us mind washing clothes. We both hate folding clothes. And so for us, one of the things we like to do is once we wash the clothes, we will throw them on the bed and we will spend that time talking. That's just kind of like what we use for our check-in time. And so we will fold clothes together and just talk. On Fridays, washing all the linen, dusting the blinds. On Saturdays, again, this is setting up for success. I wash all of my daughter's clothes, mop the living room, like our heavy traffic areas, and clean her room. So we go through toys, purge. And then on Sundays, again, getting ready for meal prepping, I clean out the fridge, mop my hallways. Now, another thing I would highly recommend if you're a homeowner or just in apartments, houses and just your overall living spaces need upkeep. And so on the back of my daily cleaning sheet, when I'm cleaning, I like to make note of things that may need maintenance or touch-ups. So when I was cleaning, I said, hey, I need to tighten up the knobs on the kitchen cabinets. I noticed when I was mopping, we need paint touch-ups are needed on the kitchen baseboards. And then doing the bathrooms, I need to change the light over the master shower. So again, while you're doing things, make mental notes of things that maybe you can add to your to-do list later. Because again, if you don't do regular maintenance, things will get crazy. So let's talk about the actual planner. because we got lots of add-ons, but I want to talk to you guys about strategically placing things and using stickers to really maximize your planner. This is a dashboard layout. I will also show you guys. This is a vertical layout. So a vertical has the 3 boxes, and then the dashboard has like your weekly on the right, and on the left side is just kind of more of like your task. I really like, if you are thinking or considering a new planner, I really love using the dashboard layout for home. Some people like using it for work as well, because you can do emails and all of the things on this left side. I really love this. When I first, Happy Planner first came out with this layout, I was really struggling, like, how do I use this side? And it's basically, if you don't want to use all the add-ins, you can basically assign these different boxes for those different areas. So just like I use this master cleaning list, you can easily use a sticker and cover up this buy to buy, and then assign your cleaning schedule here, or same way down here in this box area here. I have fitness, and we'll walk through this, but you could easily add your daily spending here. So don't be afraid to move things around. Just because it has a header there, easily you could take a sticker, and I do it all the time. And this is the minimalist. So all the stickers that you guys are seeing on these spreads that I'm showing you are from the Flowers 372 and Minimalist 785. Both of these are available on Michaels.com and at your local Michaels stores. But I love flowers, especially if you're new to planning. I highly recommend getting at least one floral book. It will make decorating your planner a breeze. It's easy to coordinate stickers with one another to get a really cute spread without doing a lot. Literally, this is one sticker that I cut in half. Get a floral book. I promise you, it will save you so much time when you're trying to, especially if you're busy and don't have a lot of time to just decorate planning. Your florals will be a great addition to just making your actual spreads have a little bit of pop. So like I was telling you guys, you can grab this sticker book here, and like they have just these little blank headers here. I'm just going to take one. Let's take one that actually matches. And so priorities. So if I didn't want it to say to buy, you just take that priorities and you would cover it. And they have ones that are blank. So don't be afraid to change things around within your planner. Same way here. For the past couple of weeks, I've used this meal planning area that I've assigned this week for meal planning. But I've also used this area in the past for workouts. So it's basically a Monday through Sunday. Excuse me. And I basically kind of like to map out, what we're going to be eating. So especially, since we're not going out and we're also trying to cut down on how much takeout we're eating, I like to kind of just pre-plan at least 2 or 3 meals a week. A lot of times my husband and I, we eat pretty healthy. So it's not like I have to do a lot of cooking. A lot of things are prepped and easy to go for us. And so here we have just a veggie stir fry. We'll eat leftovers. That's what the arrow means. And baked chicken with veggies. And then on Friday, we went out to dinner. And then Saturdays and Sundays are pretty light. I usually will prep my daughter's meals or things for her on the side, because she usually, she has a few different little things that we like to have for her. And then let's talk about how do you actually go from your master list to here. The rule of thumb I always say is you want to have maybe 3 major things within your daily, whether it be a vertical planner or a dashboard. Within your boxes, maybe have 3 3 big tasks that you want to accomplish for the day. I always highly recommend, I always say this, don't overplan your day. If you add more than 3 big tasks in here, the likelihood is that you won't get everything done. And when you don't get everything done, you will feel as if you are not being productive. So write 3, big things that you want to accomplish. I also would highly recommend any appointments or things that you have that day, you want to make sure that those things are on your weekly view. You can also put them, if you like to track appointments, on that monthly view, but I also would say, people are like, why would you write things in 2 places? Because again, in your monthly, maybe that appointment was scheduled out 2 months ago, and you want to be reminded of that. So anything that's coming up, I would say those things for me, I want them to bring attention to my eyes. And so usually with appointments or packages or things like that, in my work planner, I use what we call colorful boxes, or boxes only to indicate meetings or events. And so for here in my work planner, I'll show you guys these side by side so you guys can see. And I always say, especially with stickers, I would recommend that you be consistent with whatever stickers that you use for a spread. And so for me, I've trained myself to use boxes for events. And so in my work planner, as you can see here, I have a meeting. And over here, remember that ride I told you guys about for my friend's workout. So here in the box for my family planner, I have that ride. And then over here, I have a meeting. Same way, I have a package that's arriving. I don't want to forget about it. Unfortunately, it was delayed. And so I just put delayed so I can make sure it's a reminder here that I check to see when it's actually going to be delivered. Another thing too, like if there's a task that I need to do, so like here, I have to wash my daughter's hair. That's something that I don't do every single Saturday. I wash her hair every other week. And so I'm just reminding myself that this is, hair wash week, things like that. I had a birthday. I write those birthdays on the month at a glance, but I also don't want to forget my aunt had a Zoom birthday party. And so I wrote that event, what time it was. And then also anything that I put down here that are on timers, I also will set a timer on my phone, a reminder on my phone so that I get a notification 15 minutes before the actual event. Especially with Zooms and things like that, you want to make sure that you're able to get logged in and everything's working. And so I set that reminder so that I can stop myself, I can clean up or finish up whatever I'm working on, and then I can get ready, especially for work. It seems like we're having meetings back to back. And so I always try to give myself that 15-minute just reminder so I can either get up, maybe go to the restroom, grab some water, and I'm not rushing to the next meeting or I'm not logging on late. So again, I love paper planning, but I also think that there are some great aspects of digital planning too, especially with Apple products and things like that. You can get the reminders on your watch or things like that. So don't be afraid to set those reminders so that you don't forget things. And then same way here, any boxes that are a shipment of something that I have going on, I also will use boxes for rehearsals or events. And then if I'm ordering something, if I've ordered something, I use check marks to identify that it's actually been delivered and I received it. And so that's something too, when you're thinking about planning, make sure you're determining how you're checking those things. So for me, I add a line and I check that it's been completed. So here it says scheduled dentist appointment. There's no check mark. So I know that's for me, I've trained myself to know if it doesn't have a check mark, it didn't get completed. And so those are little things. Also for me and my planner, I only use highlighters to identify time. And so, some people like to go in and they like to highlight everything. For me, that's too busy for me. And so for me particularly, I only use highlighters for time, or for work, I'll use it to identify like a due date. So end of day. And so I'll use the highlighter and just highlight that particular time that it's due on a day. Does everybody understand that? Does anyone have any questions regarding that?
No questions.
Okay, perfect. All right. So the only other place that you can track things within your planner, here's an example of that. In the vertical layout is what we call the sidebar. And so on the sidebar, I would recommend that you use this area to track the same thing. And so for me, for work, I use this to track my trainings that I do every single week. And then I also use it here. Basically, they're what we call habit trackers. I just took a sticker, and then this is a particular software that we use to check it. And I basically just put a check mark to remind myself that I've done that for the day. So it's checking emails and logging on to this particular reporting system. And so that's an easy way. Whatever you're going to put in your planner, just again, assign a particular area of the planner where you're going to do that every single week. And so every single week on my sidebar for work, I'm going to always do any trainings that I need to do. And then also just daily tasks that have to get done. So every day I have to check my work emails. Every day I have to check my voicemail. And so those are something that you can put there. Maybe you want to use this area for fitness to track, or to track your meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Wherever you assign it, just put it there every single time. I highly, highly recommend that. It will train your brain to just plan that way. With planning, I always say it's the more you do it, the more frequent you are with it, you will get better at it. And you will find too, especially when you're start using stickers and all of those things, when you create a system, it just allows you to do it more do it faster. And when I first started planning, it used to take me maybe an hour to do a spread. Now I literally can sit down with my stickers and I'm done within 15 minutes. It's quick. I don't have to think. It's like, I know if I have a meeting or something like that, my boxes are going to get laid. I usually do 1 or 2 big stickers. And then if I have time, I'll add some frills to it. But the major frame of my planning is the same every single week. Okay. Another thing that I like to track in my planner, we always, we have these goals and things that we want to do, especially when you're tracking maybe fitness or goals. Life happens. And so I always try to extend grace to myself. And so down here at the bottom, I'm using this bottom half as my fitness tracking. And like I told you guys before, I used it on that other side that was like pre-planned in the system. But here I'm using just a box, a colorful box. And then I basically have written out the 7 days of the week and I wrote out what I did. And so within my workouts, on Monday, I wrote I was exhausted mentally. I didn't work out at all. On Tuesday, I wrote what ride I did. On Wednesday, I did a full body stretch. On Thursday, I shoveled snow. Well, what happened? I needed to rest on Friday. And on Saturday, my back was hurting. So on that, anytime I have goals, I like to write what the wins were and what needs work. And I do this every single week. On the wins, I ate breakfast every day. On another win for the week was I'm cutting back on caffeine. Another win on the week was I was drinking more water. Now, again, these wins are related to fitness. Maybe you want to look at this and use an area to assess maybe a goal or something that you're working towards. I like to always, be able to see my progress. Where am I at on something? And then the major thing I said that needed work was sleep. I need more sleep. I'm a go. I will work all day, all night. And that's not good. I've learned I am my best self. I'm my most productive when I rest well. And so what are things that I can do? And I'm going to look at that, on tonight when I go to do my planning. What can I do this week to get more sleep? Again, I got my night routine down, but I also maybe I need to cut my TV off, or maybe I need to shorten my time block on something else so that I'm able to get more rest so I can finish my task sooner. Okay, so now that you have that, I always say once you have your things written, so here we go. So we have our task here. We've moved our things that we wanted to do. Here's our task that we had in our brain dump sheet. We moved them over. We've checked them. Anything that didn't get done, I would move over to the new week that I'm going to do this week. And then also, I always like to go back and review my planner to make sure if there's anything, I look at that month at a glance to see if there's anything upcoming that maybe got canceled or adjusted. Always leave room for you to make adjustments in your plan. Okay. And then when we go into with your planning, talking about goal setting, I like to use my planner, especially this is my, my battleground planner, my battle board planner. And so I also use this planner for home projects and tasks. And for me, I always like to think of goals in 3 layers. I always say, what's keeping you from achieving a goal? Is it time? Is it motivation? Is it finances? And so for me, the big thing that I'm working on currently, I want to work on my dream garden. I currently have a garden, but I want to create a new area. Again, that's going to cost money. And so before I jump into any big projects or, a big goal that I have for myself, I kind of like to write out just an overall view of what the goal is and then what will it take. And so I'm using, again, just another half sheet. Those work great for me because, again, this isn't something that I'm going to be doing immediately. It's going to take some time. So I like to have something that I can just move from week to week so that I can look and see what I'm doing towards that goal. And so for my dream garden, kind of the 3 big things that I want to do, I want new raised garden beds. And so on this task list, I have get quotes for 4 raised beds. I need to price new outdoor lights, get quotes for landscaping. In those 3 categories, is it time, motivation, or finances. So what are things that I can do towards my goal that don't cost any money? So I need to research the compost bins. I need to map out the new area, this new garden area. Where am I going to place it in the yard? I need to price new garden tools, and then I need to research the fruit trees that I want to actually plant. And so every week, again, any big goal that you have, I would recommend doing at least one thing each week towards achieving that goal. So, whether it be going back to school, researching what do you want to major in? What are the costs of going to school? How can you pay for it? I always say where there's a will, there's a way. And so don't be overwhelmed with the task itself. Think about the things that you can do right here and right now today to move you towards where you want to be in that goal. And that's essential in your planning. So maybe you designate like an area instead of it being bills to pay. Maybe if you don't want to use a half sheet, maybe you designate an area every week. You're going to assign one thing in your planner towards a goal. Maybe it's a goal for family or finance or, a spiritual goal. Maybe you say for faith planning, I'm going to, read one chapter, or, maybe for fitness, say, hey, I'm going to, be active for 30 minutes a day, or, walk for 15 minutes, whatever. Just again, wherever you're going to do it, designate a place within your planner to track. I can't stress that anymore. It is so essential to planning that you are consistent with doing it. The more you do it, the better you will become at it. And the better that you become at it, just the overall, you will see the results from using your planner and actually achieving those goals and being efficient with your time. My mom always say everyone gets the same 24 hours in a day. It's a matter of what you do with the hours that you're given. Make sense? Any questions?
Nope. Good to go.
Good to go. Okay, perfect. So the last thing that I'm going to show you as far as half sheets are these. And so this is something these are new. These are the monthly sheets. And so this is another area, if you are wanting to really get more detailed and say, I really don't want to flip back and forth on looking at a monthly view. This is where you can take a sheet like this and really map out things and add it in your weekly view. So say you only want to use one planner. Say you don't want a planner for work and a planner for the kids and a planner. These particular sheets are a great way to have everything at a glance in your weekly view. And so I'm currently planning to use these to plan out all of my workouts for the month because they have different times that they're available, different lives. They're constantly adding things. And so basically just mapping out my workout plan for the month. You could also use this for meal planning. So say you're a Sam's Club or a Costco girl, and you want to make one big grocery list and do a big grocery haul, mapping out your meals. I even went when my husband and I were really working on budgeting, I basically went through and picked all of our favorite meals, and I broke it down to, especially with Walmart and the different places allowing you to basically do like the quick picks where you can get the groceries online. You could basically figure out how much each of your family's favorite meals cost. And so I went through and broke down all of our favorite recipes and how much they cost per meal. And it really allowed me to be able to budget accordingly. And so if you're really trying to work on that, or having a budget plan or a fitness, you could use this to track kids' scheduling. This just allows you to be able to see it all in one view. Again, this is what makes this system really great. If you're afraid of your planner being too bulky, I would highly recommend, I do this myself. I only keep 6 months of my planner in at a time. If you don't want to look at all of these extras, maybe you just create a tab in your planner for your extra sheets. That really allows you to be able to know where you're going to house it. But if you put it in a tab, just remember to flip it open and actually dive into it and do updates. So I don't mind having my planner layered because, again, I'm going to flip through these things every day and look at and see, assess. Also, when I make my master to-do list, I keep this. I like to have it in my planner. That's just me personally. And I will actually go through there when I'm planning. Typically, when I'm going from my master to-do list, over into my planner when I'm writing it, I will highlight it so I don't forget anything. And that's just a way to double check myself so that I'm not forgetting anything. Because again, if you're making all these things, you want to make sure that you're transferring them to the right place. Also too, when I was telling you guys about the budget, I would recommend that going through your bank statements and writing out, seeing all your bills at once. What you will realize too, my husband and I did this, and there's actually an app that you can use that allows you to look at all of your subscriptions, all of the things that you have that are being deducted, to see if there's any subscriptions that maybe you're not using or services that could be canceled to save money. So for us, we ordered some garage storage so that we could get rid of our storage unit. So look for ways and areas that you could cut costs on some things and save some money. All right, so we are nearing the end. I'm going to flip it back face to face and take any questions that you guys may have regarding planning or just anything in general that you guys may have regarding just how I plan or any specifics.
So Teresa asked, do you buy a new planner every year?
So I'm lucky enough that I am a Happy Planner ambassador. So I work with Happy Planner as a mentor. So I'm actually gifted new planners. But before I was ever a part of this squad or a mentor, I did buy a planner every year because the planners that I bought were only 12-month planners. Happy Planner now has 18-month planners. So you don't have to. I would, in that video that I told you guys about, it's called Finding Your Style. And it talks about when you're shopping for a planner, what to look for. Will you like that color scheme of a planner? They have seasonal planners and like different color schemes, a rainbow planner. Would you want a rainbow planner for 12 months? Or do you want a neutral planner? So think about that. Those are things to consider when you're buying a planner. Will I love this planner if I had to keep it for an entire year? I know, especially with, things that are going on, people can't afford to, buy a new planner every time there's a new release. So really make sure that's something you consider when you're shopping for a new planner.
We got a lot of compliments. Everyone really loved the class. Ebony asked if you could talk about DISC. Yes.
Yes. So actually, I will flip it over. If you would flip it back over to the overhead shot, we can talk about DISC. So these are the classic DISC. Let me grab my DISC jar. So Happy Planner DISC is just how this is a disc bound system. That's just what it's called. And so with the disc, the Happy Planner disc come in 3 sizes. So this is your expander disc. This is the largest disc. So people use this for memory planning. Again, like I was talking about adding all those things, if you want to keep a full year or your full 18 months or 12 months of a planner, just put it on expander disc. Discs are easy to remove. You just take your disc off, your pages off, and you just snap them in. So that is, here, let me move this so you guys can see it clearly. So that's the expander disc. This is a classic size disc, and then you have the mini disc. All 3 discs are available in plastic, or they are available in metal disc. And so they come in those same 3 sizes in metal or plastic. Either one, as you guys can see on my planner, I have a mix of plastic and metal disc. I just like the variations in it. There's no rhyme or reason why I have it that way, besides that I like the colors of them. But you can mix them and match them. It doesn't necessarily matter. Some people like the metal disc if you're going to take your planner out on the go. If you're thinking you will bang it up, the plastic disc can break. And so people prefer the metal disc just because they don't want to have to switch out their disc if it gets broken, because you have to take all the pages off to get them off. Okay, we can switch back over. Any other questions regarding like just the system or, prioritizing things or organizing things within your planner?
Not that I can see. Lots more compliments. People really love the class.
Yay. Well, I'm glad. Again, you guys feel free to reach out on Instagram. You guys can DM me. I have tons of videos on YouTube on Neatly Plan, literally walking you guys through how I plan just my crazy life. I work, I do planning and, social media stuff. I'm a wife, I'm a mom. And so, again, there's so many people that you can follow. You literally can type in Happy Planner on YouTube and find tons of videos on planner newbies or how to plan or how to use a particular planner. There's so many different layouts. I showed you guys the dashboard. I also showed you guys a vertical, but maybe you're a horizontal planner, or maybe you use a mini. You can also search videos on YouTube using the size of the Happy Planner. So I use a big, and sometimes I use a classic. And so if there's a particular size that you prefer, you can find videos specifically for that as well. I really enjoyed the class. I hope you guys got a lot from it. That's really all I have.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Nita, for joining us. And thank you everyone for joining this class today. This class is being recorded. So if you want to see it again, you can see it on our YouTube channel or on our website at michaels.com/classes. And I'm sure we are going to have more classes with Nita in the future. So make sure to check those out and sign up for them at michaels.com/classes as well. And hope everyone has a wonderful day.
Bye, guys.
Bye.